So let us have some introduction in the concept of average. Average. So take an example. Suppose 5 students, they got 15, 24, 11, 8 and 2 marks. So 15, 24, 11 and 8 and 2. These are the marks obtained by 5 students. Suppose, how to find out the average mark obtained by all the 5 students? So here in this case 15, 24, 11, 8 and 2, they are the individual marks. What is the total mark obtained by all the 5? 15 plus 24, 39, 39 plus 11, 50, 50 plus 8, 58, 58 plus 2, 60. So 5 students, they got 60 marks in total, right? But we have to find out the average mark. So 5 students, they got 60 marks in total, and if you distribute 60 marks equally among them, each student can get 12 marks. So that can be named as the average value. That can be considered as the average performance of the group. So here nobody got exactly equal to 12 marks. 15, 24, 11, 8 and 2, they are the individual marks obtained by students. But all the 5 students, they got 60 marks in total. Suppose if you distribute 60 marks equally among them, each student can get 12 marks. So that is the average value. So how to get the average of certain quantities? We have to divide the total of all the elements by the number of elements. So here the total of all the elements is 60 by the number of elements is 5. So therefore the average mark is equal to 12. So therefore what is the formula for average? Total by number of elements. That is the formula for average. So then we can design the second formula. If you shift this number to the left side of the equality, we can get a total is equal to number of elements into average. So I can place before you, total is equal to number of elements into average value. Total is equal to number of elements into average. So these are the two formulae. By making use of these two, we can do some problems. So how to get the average of the quantities? Total of all the elements by number of elements. In this case, the total mark obtained by all the candidates is 60 and the number of candidates is 5. So therefore what is the average mark? 12. But here what you have to observe is the average is obtained as 12, but it doesn't mean all the people can get exactly 12 marks each, right? So nobody got marks equal to 12, but the average mark of the class is equal to 12, right? Next, what is the second formula? Total is equal to number into average. And I give one more example. How to make use of the second formula? Suppose this is the data. The average salary of 8 employees in a group, that is 20,000 rupees per month. The average salary of 8 employees is 20,000. So in a group there are 8 employees and the average salary that is given as 20,000. Friends, what you have to observe is the salary of 8 employees is 20,000. The average salary of 8 employees is 20,000. It doesn't mean that the salary of each one is exactly 20,000. One may get 30,000, the other can get 10,000. But we are not particular about the salary of the individual. But there are 8 members in the group and their average salary that is given as 20,000. So let us make use of the second formula. Here the number of candidates is 8 and the average is 20,000. So number into average, that is equal to 1,60,000. That is the total salary of all the 8 employees. But we are not particular about the salary of the individual. So we are not particular about the salary of the individual. So here the number of participants is 8 and the average salary is 20,000. So number into average, 8 into 20,000. So 1,60,000, that is the total salary obtained by all the 8 people, but we are not particular about the salary of the individual. Next, one more example. The average age of 3 sisters, that is 10 years. The average age of 3 sisters is 10 years. So there are 3 sisters in the group and their average age is given as 10 years. But it doesn't mean the age of each one is exactly 10 years, right? So here the number of candidates is 3 and their average is 10. So number into average, that give the total age of all the 3 members together. The total age of all the 3 members together. So here we can get the total age of 3 candidates as 30, but we are not particular about the age of the individual. So this is the second formula, right? The first formula, that is average is equal to total by number of elements. Second formula, total is equal to number into average. Next, one more example. Suppose 15, 5, 19 and 1. So here I have given 4 elements, 15, 5, 19 and 1. Friends, what is the total for all these 4 elements? 15 plus 5, 20, 20 plus 19, 39, 39 plus 1, 40. So here the total is 40. And what is the number of elements in this group? 4. But as I said earlier, total, that is 40, number of elements is 4. So therefore we can calculate the average as total by number of elements, which is equal to 10. So there are 4 elements in this group and the average for these 4 elements is equal to total by number, which is 10. So let us observe one condition. Suppose each element is increased by 3. Each element is increased by 3, or in other words, let us add 3 to all the elements. So 15 plus 3, 18, 5 plus 3, 8, 19 plus 3, 22 and 1 plus 3, 4. Friends, what is the change affected to each element here? Each element is increased by 3. So 18, 8, 22 and 4, that will be the new set of elements, right? 18 plus 8, 26, 26 plus 22, 48, 48 plus 4, 52. So in this case the total changes to 52, but there is no change in number of elements 4. The formula for average is total by number of elements, 52 by 4. So therefore what is the new average? 13, right? Once again back to the example. What is the average for first 4 elements? It is 10. What is the change affected to each element? Each element is increased by 3. Then what will be the average of new set of elements? 13. So what you have to observe is each element is increased by 3. Each element is increased by 3. Then we can observe that the average also increases by same 3. No doubt the average changes from 10 to 13. The average changes from 10 to 13. So therefore the average also increases by same amount. And I will give one more example. Suppose 15, 5, 19 and 1, these are the 4 elements. Suppose each element is decreased by 2. Each element is decreased by 2. Then the average also decreases by 2. Suppose each element is multiplied by 3. Average also multiplied by 3. Suppose each element is divided by 4. Average also divided by 4. So at this level what you have to observe is, for a group of elements, what will be the number of elements? For a group of elements, what will be the number? If the same treatment is extended to all the elements, I repeat it, if the same treatment is extended to all the elements, we have to extend the same treatment to the average also. Suppose each element is increased by 3, average also increases by 3. Suppose each element is decreased by 2, average also decreases by 2. Suppose each element is multiplied by 3, average also multiplied by 3. And suppose each element is divided by 4, average also divided by 4. So this is the example what you have to remember. And the next one is, suppose we are given some elements and the average is given by total by number of elements. So here I want to give a group of elements 3, 7, 11, 15 and 19. So I have given 5 elements to you, 3, 7, 11, 15 and 19. So there are 5 elements. What is the total for all these 5 elements? 3 plus 7, 10, 10 plus 11, 21, 21 plus 15, 36, 36 plus 19, 55. So here the total is 55. What is the number of elements here? Here the number of elements is 5. Then what is the formula for average? Total by number. So here the total is 55 and the number of elements, that is 5. So therefore the average is equal to 11. So I have given a set of 5 elements and the total is 55 and there are 5 elements. So therefore average is obtained by using the formula total by number of elements. Total by number of elements. So what is the average obtained? 11. But some of you can observe that 3, 7, 11, 15, 19. For this set of elements we can observe the difference between successive elements is constant. The difference between successive elements is constant. The difference of these two, that is 4. The difference of these two, 4. The difference of these two, 4, like that. So here we can generalize a condition. If the difference between successive elements is constant, if the difference between successive elements is constant, then the average can be obtained by using the formula first element plus last element by 2. I repeat it. If the difference between successive elements is constant, if the difference between successive elements is constant, then their average can be given by using the formula first element plus last element by 2. Here the first element is 3, the last element is 19. First element plus last element 22 by 2. So therefore 11 is the average. So both are one and same. 11 is the average. So therefore the general formula to find out the average is total by number of elements. That is the general formula. But in this particular case, the difference between successive elements is constant. So if the difference between successive elements is constant, then the average can be obtained by using the formula first element plus last element by 2. So first element plus last element by 2, that is 11. Or you can observe this 11 is nothing but the middle element of the group. We can say 11 is the average. We can say the middle number is the average. But when can you find out the middle number? If the number of elements is 3, we can get the middle element. If the number of elements is 5, we can get the middle element. If the number of elements is 7, 9, 11, so in such a case we can find out the middle element. So once again we have to recollect it. What is the formula for average? Total by number of elements. That is the general formula that is applicable in all the cases. But when can we apply the formula first element plus last element by 2? If the difference between successive elements is constant, then we can apply the formula for average as first number plus last number by 2, or we can select the middle number as the average. Suppose this is the problem. What is the average of first 18 multiples of 5? This is the question. What is the average of, I am not interested in the first 18 elements, I am not interested in first 18 even numbers. What is the average of first 18 multiples of 5? We are interested in only the multiples of 5. You all know multiples of 5, that is 5 into 1, 5 into 2, 5 into 3, 5 into 4. So like that we are interested in 18 elements. These 18 elements must be the multiples of 5. So therefore the first element is 5, the second element is 10, the third element is 15, and the fourth element is 20. Then what will be the 18th element in that series? That is 5 into 18, or simply saying 90. So these are the 18 elements which are the multiples of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, like that we have to take 18 elements, and of course the 18th element will be 5 into 18. And here we are interested in finding the average of these elements. What is the general formula for average? We have to take the total of all these elements by number of elements. But in this case it is not necessary to get the average, get the total, because all these elements they differ by 5. The difference between successive elements is 5. The difference between successive elements is 5. So as we discussed earlier, if the difference between successive elements is constant, then their average is given by first number plus last number by 2. Here the first number is 5 and the last number is 90. So first number plus last number 95 by 2. So 95 by 2, or you can take 47.5 as the average of first 18 multiples of 5, right? So here we are interested in only the multiples of 5, and there are 18 in number. So 5 is the first element, 10 is the second element, 15 is the third element, and like that 5 into 18, 90 is the last element. So no doubt the difference between successive elements is constant, and we can observe the average by using the formula first element plus last element by 2. And suppose this is the question: what is the average of first 13 multiples of 3? What is the average of first 13 multiples of 3? So here we are interested in only the multiples of 3. So how will be the multiples of 3? 3 into 1, 3 into 2, 3 into 3, 3 into 4. So like that 3 into 13. So 39 is the last element. So we have to consider 13 elements, and all these 13 elements must be multiples of 3, right? So 3 into 1, first number, 3 into 2, second number, 3 into 3, third number. So like that we have to consider 13 elements, 3 into 13. So here also it is not necessary to calculate the total and then divide with the number of elements, 13. So straight away we can apply the formula first element plus last element by 2, because the difference between successive numbers is constant 3. So here the first element is 3, the last element is 39, first element plus last element by 2. So 3 plus 39, that is equal to 42 by 2. Therefore what is the average for all these elements? 21. So in this concept we have to bring 3 concepts, right? The first one is the formula for average is total by number of elements. The formula for average is equal to total by number of elements. And the second formula, total is equal to number into average. Total is equal to number into average. Third one, in a group of elements, if each element is increased by 3, average also increases by 3.